Hello, my name is Christy Hodges. I'm an advocate for OCD, in particular pure OCD. So I'm doing a live video today on Facebook, but I'm definitely going to be posting it on my YouTube channel where we have a really great community of people, a lot of people that come to watch the videos that are also suffering, and so glad that we have an opportunity to see how many other people are out there living with OCD and see the severity of it. I'm really nervous about doing this video today. I'm going to tell you the reason why is because the main point of the video is that I want to talk about a lot of the questions and things that have come up with people that I've worked with recently. But I also want to talk about who I am. I get a lot of questions about me and who I am and why I'm an advocate and things about myself. And a lot of times those questions are fielded to me in a way of, because people always worry that they really don't have OCD. And so I think I do get a lot of questions from people because I think people believe that if I have the ability to be an advocate, that and I am doing what I'm doing now, and I have even been quoted, will you help people, and so you're different. I want a chance to be able to tell you how much I am like you and how much you're like me, and how we struggle and have suffered and are suffering with a lot of the different fears that come along, not only, hi Carrie, not only with OCD, but mental illness in general. First, I want to tell you this. I have been aware that there have been some trolls on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook videos recently going on there saying some really nasty things. Now, I can't necessarily track these people down because they don't have profile pictures or whatever, but I do want you to know I always see them. I do whatever I can to get there as quickly as possible to remove comments I feel like are going to be triggering to you because they're triggering to me and just in general insensitive. So I want you to know that for me and that I do the best that I can. If I have not seen something and you want to shoot me a quick email and let me know, please do. I would appreciate that. So today I wanted to do what I really want to dig into is to parallel the blog that I just wrote. My blog is at wordpress.com, Battling the OCD Demon. And it was a really tough blog for me, which is probably why, this video feels a little tough. It's about my coming to terms with being victimized by an illness I didn't ask for. Something that's really hard for a lot of us. Now I'm going to tell you, I could dive into 1,000 different directions on this one. And in particular, I thought about doing a video about how people really don't take OCD serious, and it really pisses me off. But even in the clinical world, people will say, someone could have a full-blown OCD diagnosis and exhibiting all these symptoms, and because therapists don't know what OCD is and how debilitating and severe it is, that gets overlooked and they don't get the proper treatment. That is a video for another day. See, look, I already went down a rabbit hole. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about who I am, because a lot of times people are like, well, who are you? This person, you came out of the blue, you live in Denver, yay, and we always get to see your kitchen and the banana photo right there that triggers people. Sorry, but ERP. Anyway, a couple things about me. I became an advocate because I believe that it's important for people to know that you're not alone. That's it. When I started advocacy for pure OCD, in particular for violent and sexual intrusive thoughts, I got onto the internet, it was about 6 years ago. I couldn't find anything. I mean, I could find clinical articles about it, but I didn't hear any lived experience. I couldn't see that someone actually was out there that didn't look like a monster, which was how I felt about my illness. And so I started doing it. At first, I was nervous about saying my obsessions out loud. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want to say them out loud because if you say them out loud, that means they might be real or people might shame you, all that stuff. But as I started to speak out and started to find, I knew there were people out there that had it, but I just didn't know where they are or who they were. And once I started to speak out, all of a sudden, I started to see that these are real people. This is me. This is you. And I thought, oh, to hell with it. I'm going to say everything and anything, and I don't care what anybody thinks. Why? Because I needed that back in the day, and I will get to that in a minute. A little bit about me. I've been an advocate now for about 6 years. I live in Denver, Colorado. Let's see, fun facts about Chrissy. I owned a clothing store for 7 years. It was called Token Threads. Yeah. It was so fun until it wasn't because of the recession. That was not fun. Oh, Rudy, shout out. Woo, Rudy! Anyway, other fun facts about me. I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete since college. I love running. I've just gotten over plantar fasciitis in both feet. That shit is no joke, by the way. Ouch. I live with my partner, Sean, who I refer to as Sean David. If you ever hear me talk about him, he's just graduating from a program for computer development and also is a comedian, a local comedian. He's a little bit on a hiatus, but he is awesome. I have a cat named Barney who, here, I'll just show you. There's his food. Oh, shit. There's his food right there. Oh, my God. Sorry. He refuses to paw that food down, so he sits in front of the food expecting us to paw it down for him. And I have a dog named Hamilton. He's a French bulldog. Hamilton. There he is. They are the loves of my life, other than Sean David. And Sean David has a son, and that's my first experience with being around kids, so it's awesome. And no, I won't fall. Other stuff about me, I went to Georgia Southern University. I ran cross country there. I loved it. I grew up in the South, and I moved out to Colorado about 17 years ago, and that makes me feel real old, which is another fun fact about me. I am 40 this year, and really feel like at 40, everything about my body is falling apart. Perpetual stress, all of that stuff. Why is all of this important? There's a big reason why I wanted to tell you all of that stuff. I'm a regular person that's an advocate. And so you can too, if you wanted to become an advocate. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing different about me. And my experience with OCD was so much like yours. It just doesn't feel like it when you're in it. I had a conversation with someone this last week or two, and this person was experiencing suicidal ideation, which is something I experienced too. And this person, while in it, was saying, I just don't think there's any reason for me to stay alive. I just feel like I would be better off. Everybody, would forget about me and it would be okay. And if you're watching, you know who I'm talking about. And I said to this person, that's enough justification for me to attempt or complete suicide as well. And she said, no, you're offering something to the world. And in my mind, I thought, but so are you. And I believe I said that to her as well. Because we all have something to offer. And just because, and we know this with OCD, we know this with mental illness, just because someone's doing something and everything seems okay, that doesn't mean that A, they are suffering, or B, they haven't suffered tremendously in their life. So today, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I hear and some of the questions that I get from you. Because a lot of times there's the undertone of, I know, but you didn't have to go through this, or you haven't been there, and I want you to know that I have. And I'm right there beside you, walking alongside you. And I didn't have anybody alongside me on that journey, and it was hard. Mental illness hijacks your brain, doesn't it? It hijacks your brain. You are one person one day, the next person, you know who the hell you are. And this follows along with the blog that I just wrote. I would stare in the mirror at my face. Who is this person? I don't recognize that face. I don't recognize those eyes. I mean, I do, but that person is responsible for things that I can't control. And I just want to connect to her again. You become hijacked and you're terrified that you can't get back to the person that you were before. Newsflash right into my article is you won't get back to that person you were before. Now, before you stop listening and you're getting anxiety because I said that, just hang on for a little bit and let me explain. There are things that come up when you have a mental illness. I can't speak for any other mental illness other than OCD and depression. So know that when I'm talking about OCD and depression, I'm also trying to relate to your experience if you have other mental illnesses. When a mental illness takes over, for me, it was, first of all, relief. Oh my God, all this stuff isn't really my fault. And then it was anger. And then it was, why me? And I get that from so many people that I work with doing consultations or peer support. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? I must have done something wrong. Because here's the thing. Because we're not feeling physical pain in our brain, other than maybe if we're manifesting it because of specific obsession or because we're doing this a lot. Because I do that a lot. I'm trying to outthink things. So I may get a little of a pain here. My jaw hurts over here sometimes in my neck. Other than that, we cannot fathom that what we are experiencing isn't somehow our fault. And I was talking to someone earlier this week, and if you're watching, you're going to know that this was our conversation. It is almost the opposite of narcissism, but it seems like narcissism, especially when it comes to OCD. You know, because we're always worried about what we're doing and what we're saying and why did this person react, because I must have done something to make that wrong, and this must have happened because of me, and what did I do? I'm going to stay up all night and ruminate about this, because if I ruminate one more time, I'm going to figure it out. Then you won't. Just so you know, sorry. You'll get 99%, and that 1%, you're like, oh my God, I'll just Google one more time. Go ahead and Google, you'll go right back to 1%. It's actually the opposite of narcissism. Because narcissists are like, oh yeah, it's about me. OCD is like, oh my God, it's about me and I wish it wasn't. How do I figure out whether it was or wasn't? It's maddening, y'all. So here's the thing. This is what mental illness makes you feel like. Again, I can only speak for OCD. But it is all consuming. And all we think is, if I could just only go back, if I could just get rid of these symptoms, I'd have this wonderful life. And I say this often. Once you get through the medical symptoms and you get them under control, you're just looking for that red carpet. Where is it? Who's going to roll it out for me? Because then life can begin. I'm going to tell you, life is happening now, even with your symptoms. And you know what? They aren't your fault. And I know you don't believe me, and that's okay, but maybe you just needed to hear it tonight. They're not your fault. And anyone that tells you that you should feel like they are your fault, sorry, I'm going to say it, they can fuck off. It's like this weird club you join when you get, when you get a mental illness. It's a club nobody wants to join. I mean, there are no dues. You know what I mean? It's not like, yay, when do I renew? But you get in there. And you know other people are in there, but you think, these are not my people. These aren't people I want to be around. These are the lowest of the low. Like, I don't want to associate with that. And that's another thing about me that I can relate to. I didn't understand mental illness. I didn't understand that there were people sitting next to me. I grew up in the South. My dad's a minister. I went to church every Sunday at that point in my life. I didn't know that I was sitting in the pews with people who were experiencing these horrific things that I was, because nobody talked about it. You're in a club with all these people with mental illness. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's socializing. Why? Because we just hole up in our little shame and guilt and embarrassment. There's the why me right there. Why me? What did I do to deserve this? That's what it is. And you fester that, right? You fester in it. So you're racking your brain what I could have done wrong. You know, maybe if I'm a better person, my symptoms will be, wait, my favorite. Maybe if I eat healthier, because that's just respecting my body. Maybe if I eat healthier, these symptoms will go away. Sure, eating healthy is great. Maybe if I exercise, these symptoms. When I attempted suicide, I was running, and I just saw Sarah Malone Gordon join, so she's going to know this. Because we ran cross country together at Georgia Southern, and at the time that I attempted suicide, we were running dozens of miles per week. So it isn't just get off the couch and go for a run. Treat your body better and the symptoms are going to go away. But that's what you want to believe, because you don't want to believe it actually is an illness that you didn't choose, that you didn't do something to ask for it. How many people do you think, I mean, and I know that there are some, especially when it comes to lung cancer and things like that, but when people get diagnosed with physical illness, how many of those people are like, oh my God, I must have done something morally wrong to get this? Yeah, that would be next to nothing. I mean, but with mental illness, it's just so different. And I want you to know I'm right there with you. Maybe not today, I feel that way. But if you ask my partner, Sean David, he will tell you every single time I get stuck into a cycle, the first thing I say is, what did I do to make this happen? Why me? The other thing that I'm right there with you on is that I'm damaged goods. I struggled with that for years and years. I am damaged goods now. I addressed this in my blog a little bit, which was the moment that my illness showed up, it was like all my innocence fled. You know, that girl that was wide-eyed to the world and was just ready and primed to have all these wonderful experiences, she disappeared because I was tainted. I was tainted with symptoms for years and years and years and years. Okay, but here's what I like to tell people, because this is what people don't understand. When they're saying, I'm just so pissed, which by the way I was too, I wasted all that time. I want to get back to that person that I was. I can't get back to that person now. Okay, well, let me flip it for you. All we do is survive a mental illness until we know the tools that we need to not have to fight every moment of every day. You are surviving. That's called resiliency. That's called strength. That is called getting creative in your own mind to figure out how to deal with sexual and violent intrusive thoughts. You know, doing the most bizarre things that you possibly can to survive. So yes, you miss chunks of your life. Yeah, or if you just got diagnosed and you just missed a couple months or, maybe a year or whatever, it still doesn't matter. That's time, yes. But you did what you could to get through it and to survive. How do you tell people? I'm right there with you on that one too. I was, now it's a little bit different because I don't care what I tell anybody. Obviously, groinal. I didn't tell anyone for years. And in a 12-year span, I barely told anybody that I'd had a suicide attempt, that I had sexual intrusive thoughts. How humiliating is that? Nobody's going to understand. Nobody's going to believe me. Everybody's going to look at me different. I worried, like, what is my family going to think about me now once I was diagnosed? That now all of a sudden when they used to see me and be like, yay, Christy, now is it going to be, oh, she's, damaged goods, and they weren't, thank goodness. But then it goes to friends, and then it goes to, oh my God, what about when I find a partner later, if I have a family? What am I going to tell them? How do I tell them I had sexual intrusive thoughts? Or violent intrusive. How do I do that? And it took me a long time. But I like to tell people it takes confidence in your recovery. Don't tell people until you are so confident in the strength and resiliency that you have to have gotten through it. Because that's all that matters. In the grand scheme of things, all that matters is how you can see yourself in the face of that illness that tried to break you down. Other people will see that strength once you get to that point, and it takes a while, and it took me a very long while. So that's why when I work with people now and they just say, well, oh, but it's different because you're not suffering now. And I'm like, I'm 40. My illness started when I was 8. I suffered 12 years in silence and 13 years not telling anybody what I had been through because I was so miserable and sad and angry. And I was so in the why me and what did I do to deserve this? And nobody's going to love me. And I'm damaged goods. The biggest thing is self-esteem. And I did have somebody on the YouTube channel write about this. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is still an issue for me. It still is. There is something about mental illness that just slices and dices your self-esteem, isn't it? I mean, it's just like the mention of having a mental illness, and it's like, there goes life. I have a successful business. I do what I love. I have a life that I would have never dreamed I could have had for decades. But if I'm not anxious sometimes, or I wake up and I think you can be okay, Chrissy, and things can be okay, I feel like something's wrong. I mean, seriously. I don't know how to not be anxious. I don't know how to think that the bottom isn't going to drop out at any moment. And I don't know how to calm down and embrace that. And I'm going to tell you the same thing about how people are like, oh, just run or whatever. When people are like, oh, but if you just meditate and if you're just mindful, and I'm not dissing that, but at the same time, like the culmination of like 20 something years of being anxious, I can't just meditate that shit away in a day. I mean, sorry. And I know it takes a while, but at the same time, we know this. Our mental illness, the things that we suffer with, infiltrate our world. Why? Remember what I'm about to say. Because we survived a mental illness, secondary or first to surviving life. Of course, those survival mechanisms are going to intertwine in how we survive any situation that we feel fight or flight or freeze. So it's so hard to unlearn that, and I can't stand it. When I feel like I have to feel okay about everything and I have to be confident, because I'm not confident. I don't have a great self-esteem. And you may think that I do, because I come on here and talk about shit that almost no one else will talk about out loud who has suffered with it. But I get scared too. And that's the main point I wanted to drive home today. I hear from people all over the world, and I love hearing your stories, and I love hearing from you. And I want you to know that regardless of the fact that I'm speaking out and I do what I do to help you find the right referrals for therapists or to provide peer support, I'm scared too. It just didn't end one day and then everything was wonderful. The point of the blog that I wrote and that I want to express here is that I didn't understand that it was okay to embrace that fear. To say it's okay to be scared. Why? Because you know, if you have OCD, you know this. It's almost like you have to stay on top of things. You got to do your compulsions and you got to do all this stuff, you know, just to say, because you're hyper aware of everything. You got to stay on top of it, right? So anytime fear would enter, it's like, oh my God, I'm losing control. OCD's taking over. Blah. So now when I feel fear, I'm terrified and I feel like I have to control everything. I'm hyper aware of everything. But then I got to a point where I couldn't anymore. Like, honestly, like, you physically can't do that. You can't have that perpetual stress for that long. So I just decided that it's okay to be afraid. And it's okay to feel bad about myself every once in a while, or even more than that. And it's okay to be scared when I get intrusive thoughts and I think, oh my God, this is the time. This is the time I'm going to end up institutionalized forever. You know how it is. Like, any depression happens and you're like, oh my God, this is it. It's never going to break. That's the main reason why we are so much alike. I do want you to know that it does get better, and it can get better. Trusting the process, trusting your therapist, which number one, if you need a therapist referral, please email me. Don't go to some damn therapist that says they treat OCD and they're not using ERP and they don't know what the hell they're doing. Don't. Contact me, please. Trust the process. Trust recovery. Trust that if you can get your medical symptoms under control, that you can still have bad days, and that doesn't mean that you're tanking all the way down to the bottom again. I've hit rock bottom. I almost died by suicide. I have been all the way down there, and I've slid back, and I'm so scared that I'll get down there again. But you know what? I have faith in my ability to be able to use what I've learned, to be able to reach out to the people that love me, like Margaret Sisson that just wrote on here, one of my greatest supports, to reach out to people and to be able to know I don't have to get down there again. But shame and guilt and embarrassment and silence will make me slide to the bottom. You are here today. You're willing to open up to a stranger and other strangers. You don't have to go through this alone. You never have to be alone in this battle, and you aren't, even on those darkest, loneliest moments with OCD or any other mental illness. So thank you for being here today. I hope that my point was kind of clear. Of course, as you know, I kind of like wind in and out. But what I do want you to know is that recovery is fluid. Recovery is medical. It is also emotional. And that although there are many of us out there that are advocates that seemingly have everything wound up in a beautiful bow and everything's wonderful, that is not what I want to portray to you. But I also want to portray to you that life is great after I've embraced that recovery is ongoing, and it's something that I have to maintain for the rest of my life, and that's not a trap, and it's not something I have to be sad about. It is something that makes life better. A couple things really quick. Up and coming. Support group here in Denver. If you're in Denver, Colorado, woo! Myself and Lori Johnson at In Focus Counseling in Denver, we're starting a support group, a therapeutic and a peer group in October. So we'll do therapeutic 1 week and then 2 weeks later the peer group. And I'm so excited about that because I love getting my peers all together and we can all talk about all of the stuff that I do these videos on. Second, if you haven't, I'm not going to pull that book out because this thing is going to fall over, but if you're interested in learning more about me in depth, my book is Pure OCD, The Invisible Side of Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. It is on Amazon or booklocker.com. If you are in need of referrals or resources for people who actually treat OCD in your area or via teletherapy, please contact me. I can help connect you to someone. And if you need peer support, which is using my lived experience to support and normalize what you're going through, contact me at ocd.chrissie@gmail.com or go to chrissyhodges.com to find out more information about my services and my pricing. Last but not least, the next video, well, I actually in two videos from now, but I want to go ahead and preface it. I'm having Lori Johnson come on and we are going to talk about OCD and addiction. So Margaret, if you're still listening, I want you to be there. Margaret is a huge advocate for bringing awareness to OCD and addiction, and she has Riley's Wish, which also I'll be posting on my Facebook page at treatmentforocd.com, has a lecture series coming up. I want to talk to you a little bit about what I have gone through when it comes to substance use issues. And I've never talked about it openly. And I talk with Lori. I feel super safe doing a video with someone who gets it and who understands. And I'm going to talk to you about my struggles through the years with substance use, because I know there's many of us out there, and that is another source of shame, and I want to help break it down for all of us. I know this video is long. Thank you for standing by, and thank you as always for being here. I love this community, and I love all the people that support awareness for mental health. Until next time, and happy fall. We'll see you later. Bye.